All right, so painting class. Now, for your second activity, like mini assignment for this first week, we just did a lot of practice with painting, and kind of experimenting. So this other one is still going to be a practice, but I want you to pick an object that you have, either in your room or around your house, and I just want you to practice kind of painting it. So, this. Um, I had right in front of me one of my cactuses, and I was trying very hard not to spill it over, but I had a lot of details that I had actually like painted on it myself. But I chose that as my object to paint. So, um, I mean, painting is kind of like drawing. You got to think about like the shape of it and like how it's going to work and the colors of it. It was white. So obviously I can't paint something that is white, like the vase of it or the pot. So I just took a little bit of black and I watered it down. So, I mean, my water was already dirty. And then I just did like a little swatch over here on the side of my paper to see if it was the color that I liked. And then I just started to do a light kind of sketch with it. If you notice, like I'm not having you guys draw anything out with pencil. Um, because I want you to kind of get the hang of just starting to paint right away. If it really does drive you crazy that you can't kind of plan things out with a pencil first, obviously I'm not going to be mean. You can use a pencil, but it is nice, like this is just practice, um, to just kind of start to be able to paint things and just kind of be able to go with it. Um, and then you have those four different option brushes. If you have other paintbrushes at home, go for it. Um, and then really focus on like what colors you need. The colors that are up in the actual palette, those are really, really vibrant and kind of like not realistic to things. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like so like I was trying to get the green of my cactus. This green is just way too like bright, vibrant green for what I was going for. My cactus is almost um like a yellow green color, so I kind of mixed my own, and it is really hard to see like the actual color of my paintbrush or my paints on my paper. But so I'm just kind of taking my time trying to get details as I'm observing them in front of me. Again, if you want to plan it out with a pencil, go for it, but this is just practice. Um, I always start with like lighter shades first. So everything that I'm drawing is kind of light, and then I go back and I add kind of like darker things to my painting. So my cactus was divided into these like little like strips, almost like a light, dark light. It was almost like a darker green and so you can see I'm kind of making a darker green right up there, and I added way too much black, so I got to go back and add a little bit of green to it to get it to be the right shade of dark green. Can kind of mix it together there. Again, test it out before you actually paint with it to see if that's what you like. Usually I do this little paint swatch on a separate piece of paper, but for this I wanted you guys to see kind of like what my process was. And then I'm just kind of going with it. I'm just kind of filling in darker areas of green. I'm going to probably go back and um, do some yellow in between. I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. So then I'm going to go in a little bit more, just brighten it up. All right. Right there, I was taking a dry paintbrush and trying to get off some of the paint that I think it was getting too kind of watered down, so I just was absorbing some of the paint that on my paper into my paintbrush. That's something you can do. Um, Now I'm going back with my yellow. Certain things that you're painting, you might need to paint something, then move away to a different area and let it dry before going back and adding more details. So I'm going to leave this, and I'm going to, because I do still need to add spikes, but I don't think it's a good time right now because this is all still very wet. So I'm going to kind of leave that, and I'm going to focus now on the bottom part of my pot. And so I was trying to get like a darker gray because I have different designs actually painted on the pot. So that's what I was going for. You could definitely switch out the paintbrush that you're using. I feel like I have a little bit more of control because I've been painting for such a long time now. Watercolor paints are my preferred material, so I definitely know kind of how to use a paintbrush the right way, putting less pressure to make like thinner lines. Um, Here I was just kind of giving it a little bit of like shading and depth, so I was trying to kind of darken it up a little bit. That's something if you want to attempt to do, go for it. If not, just stick to the basics of um, kind of painting your object. Again, I'm just adding a little bit more shading to it to make it look kind of 3D. Skip ahead a little bit. Here I'm going to go in and continue to do some of the little details that I had painted on my pot. Just did 3 yellow dots. Then there was these like blue diamonds around it. Some orange zigzag line. Mine is not, this is not coming out like perfectly like the pot design, but I'm just going with it because it's just practice, okay? Skipping ahead a little bit more, doing in some littler details. Definitely pick something that like your object that has some like wider details, bigger like color blocked areas, and then an area that maybe is has a little bit more of like finer details so that way you can get understand and get that practice in. Let's see. So then I'm going to go back and I've kind of waited a couple minutes. Um, and I'm going to do some of the like spike details. If you look over here on my cactus, there's kind of like little circles going up and down my cactus. That's kind of where the spikes come out from. So I was trying to pick a light orange. It came out a little bit darker than what I wanted. So in a second, I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to rip it off and kind of fold it. And I'm just going to be carefully kind of get some of the paint off. I'm not wanting it to take off the whole thing. I'm just trying to get that top layer that is still wet. And it just lightened it just a little bit. Okay. And then I'm gonna go in and I want my like these spikes are almost like yellow. So I picked kind of like a yellow orange and I'm just lightly kind of filling in spikes here and there. This is like not as detailed as if I was like drawing it with a pen, pencil, marker. That's the thing about painting is like it's not going to be as precise, especially watercolor paints. Acrylic paints you can get kind of like um, more sharper like details, but yeah, watercolor paints are more of like an impression. So you can kind of see here, I'll pause it. Those are my two side by sides. Um, so yeah, this like I could have added more detail in the back about like the soil and whatnot, but I was just trying to keep it quick and simple for you guys. So yeah, pick an interesting object that kind of has a lot of different details, maybe a couple different colors, so that way you can get some color mixing in. And then also with this, take a picture, upload it to the assignment or email it to me so that way I can check you off. I hope you guys have fun with it. Again, I don't want this to be stressful. Email me with any questions. And yeah, all right, chat with you in the next video. Bye.